Hello, my name's Jeep. Usually I do videos in Korean, but recently one of my coworkers asked how I study vocabulary and what software I use, etc. So I wanted to make a video in English to kind of explain how I do it, what software I use, and why I do it this way, etc. So I'm just going to walk you through my whole process, explain how it works, and yeah, hopefully this will be useful for native English speakers. I already made a video just like this in Korean, but that probably wouldn't be so useful for you, so here's the English version of that video. So first, I just want to show you the website that I use. It's called Memrise, Memrise, and there's a website, memrise.com. There's also an app you can download. And I'm not being paid, by the way. This is not an advertisement. This is just personally what I use, and hopefully it's helpful for you too. There's also other software. There's one called Anki that many people use. Personally, it's not something I've used, but it's a very similar concept. Both of these are called spaced repetition software, spaced repetition, or SRS for short. So I'm going to explain what SRS is first, and then I'll kind of show you how I use this software. So SRS, spaced repetition system, is a method for memorizing things where basically it takes advantage of how the human brain works so that it can sort of ideally help you maximize the time you use to memorize things and maximize sort of the brain power that you have available. So the way it works is you, on day one, for example, you learn some new words, like you learn 5 new words or 10 new words. Personally, my recommendation is 5 per day, but you can maybe learn 10 a day. 15 is really, really crunching. Anyway, you learn some new words, and then some number of days later, you see those words again. Basically, you use flashcards where it shows the English version of the word, and you have to input the Korean, or sorry, the other version of the word in whatever your target language is. If you get it right, then you won't see that word again for 3 more days. If you get that word wrong, then you'll see it again soon. And so the next time you see that word, like 3 days later, if you again know what that word is, then it won't re-show you that word until about a week later. And if you a week later still remember that word, then it'll show it to you again a month later. But if you get it wrong, then it goes back into, you'll see it again a week later. And if you get it wrong again, you'll see it 3 days later. If you get it wrong again, you'll see it 1 day later, etc. These aren't exact timelines, but the concept is the more that you can prove that you've memorized something, the less often you see it. And the more times you kind of make a mistake, the more often you see it. And so that way, if there's words that are like very easy for you to remember, then you won't see them very often. You won't have to study them very often. And the words that are like really difficult, the ones that don't seem to stick with you very well, or that are just hard for whatever reason, you'll see them more and more frequently until eventually you do get them. And when you do start getting them, then you'll see them less and less. And so you can kind of cycle in the words you're learning through that system. So all of this is automated through this website called Memrise. There are all these lists of words that you can learn from that other users have made and uploaded. There's some that are specifically designed by Memrise. But personally, I recommend that you should make your own custom list. Because if you make your own custom list, it's personalized to the words that you care about, and you'll also remember the context that you initially heard the word, so that like the next time you actually see that flashcard, you remember, oh yeah, I saw this in this conversation, or I tried to use this word in this conversation, and this is what I learned. So let me show you what that looks like. So I have several different lists of words that I've made. Like these are some much, much older words where I have a list of almost 3,000 that I made here. From last year, I have a list of about 1,300 words. And then from this year, this is June 2022 right now, I have almost 500 words that I've been keeping track of. So if I go to this list and just scroll through here, so I can scroll down and look at like words that I've added very recently. So things like antique shop and 6 out of 10 points. And I guess they changed the ingredients. So it don't have to be words. They can also be phrases. I think recently I've been kind of learning more about specific types of phrases, but even things like cable car, which is just a loan word, cable car. So it's actually very, very similar in Korean, but I still want to learn the spelling for that word. And then like tear duct, for example, is not a loan word. It's 눈물샘, which means eye water well. That's like literally what it means, but that's the word they use, 눈물샘. So tear duct is a word that just happened to come up recently. Nutritional supplement, etc., etc. But basically, let's say I want to add a new word to this list. I can go to edit course, and one new word that I learned today actually was croissant, which is how do you spell in English? Croissant? Yeah. So croissant in Korean is kruasang. So it's kind of a loan word, maybe directly from the French pronunciation. Kruasang. So here I'll just put the Korean spelling kruasang. And then on the right side, I'll put the English, so that'll be croissant. And so press enter. So now this is in my list, and I can save, and that will be in my list. Now I won't necessarily see that word immediately, because if I look at my list, I'll see that here are a bunch of new words that I've entered that I haven't actually learned yet. And since I'm only learning 5 a day, like tomorrow I'll learn these 5 words, and then the next day I'll learn these 3, but hopefully a few other words that I'll be inputting by the time I get to that point. So if I learn a bunch of new words, like if I come across a bunch of new words or phrases, I can enter them all. Like let's say I came across 20 or even 30 while reading a comic or something. I can put them all in, but then when I'm learning day to day, I just pick off kind of the next 5 that day, and then the next day I'll pick off the next 5. And so I kind of fill things into, I queue up things, and then I sort of go through those step by step as I get to them. And if my queue is getting too long, then I'll kind of just stop adding new things to my queue for a while, because you want to come across, like actually try to study those new words pretty soon after you've queued them into your list, so you can still remember the context that you initially heard them in. So let me show you what a quiz looks like. So I'll just run through this one. This is my Talk to Me in Korean Iyagi words, which it's just a podcast that I listen to, and in that podcast sometimes I'll pick up some new words and I put them in a specific list so I can kind of remember where they came from. So it automatically builds quizzes, and I'll just do a quiz here. So in what kind of mood? This would be like, I'm going to try and remember. 어떤 기분? 어떤 기분에? 어떤 기분으로? Hey, I got it. 어떤 기분으로? And usually when I'm doing this, I'll kind of, even though there's these things down here, you can use these for hints, or if you're on mobile, you can use them for typing. But I'll try not to look at those unless I'm like kind of blanking on what it is. Let's see, by chance would be probably Utani? No, that's not right. So I'm blanking on it. I'm gonna look. Yeah, Uyani. I was close. Uyani. Family month. That would be 가족의 달? 가족의 달? Nope. 가정의 달, maybe? So it's been a while since I've seen these, so maybe that's why I'm not remembering. Yeah, 가정의 달. Push-up would be 팔굽혀 파급 펴. Oh wow, this one's hard actually. 파급 펴. So I can't think of what it is actually. 파급 펴. 파급 펴 펴기. I think that's it. Yeah, 파급 펴 펴기. Pull over, cover, 쓰. 뒤어 쓰다? Nope. So it's not 뒤어 쓰다. So I'm just gonna press enter and see. Oh, actually no, it's 뒤집어 쓰다. 뒤집어 쓰다. Yeah, 뒤집어 쓰다. Exam supervisor. 시험 감독. I think. Yeah, 시험 감독. Oh, shabby humble. I honestly can't. It's 름. It has a 름 in it, but I don't know. So I'm just gonna press enter. This is when I got wrong. It'll put back in my stack. 허름하다. So this word I'll actually see pretty soon, where all the other ones that I got right, I probably won't see for another month. And they'll come around, but it'll sort of spark the memory of like, oh yeah, what was that word? And, new words you'll see more frequently, and words that you've learned a while ago and gotten correct, you'll see later on. Java coffee would be Java copy, I think. Java copy. Maybe it's not two words, maybe it's one word. Java copy. Oh, why is this wrong? Oh, because I'm spelling coffee wrong. Java copy. There we go. Java copy. Oh, so the one that I just got wrong came up again. And because I just saw it, I can remember it's 허름하다. Hey, there it is. So it reinforced the word that I just forgot, but I will see that word again tomorrow probably. Sore camping calves. 다리 알? It's something like that maybe. 다리에 알배다. I was kind of close. So here it is again. 다리에 알배다. Hey, there we go. 다리에 알배다. Cool. Okay. So there's my quiz. It will show me what words that I just learned if I want to look those up again. And points, I don't care about points. Some people do, but you can keep track of your progress or how much you do per day, and it will do all those kind of things that tells you if you're meeting whatever goal you set out for yourself. You can set goals and stuff like that. So the other thing I'll just show you really quick is if I do this various words, even though it says classic review and there's 4 words to review right now, what I'm going to do instead is learn my 5 new words for the day. So if I click learn and look at this, we have impromptu. So what is this? I practiced these this morning, and so that's why it's kind of showing me in this format, but I know it's 즉흥적. So this, usually when you're learning a new word, it just gives you multiple choice instead of having to type the word because it's a little bit easier. You can say, oh, is it 1 or 2 or 3 or 4? I know it's not 1 or 2 or 3. It has to be 4. So 즉흥적. So feel a shiver up my spine. That would be 전율이 느껴지다. 전율이 느껴지다. What do we got? Impromptu. So now I actually have to type it. It was 즉흥적. Yes. And then theater screening room. That'd be 상영관. Impromptu. 즉흥적. Feel a shiver up my spine. So I just looked at this, but can I remember it? It was 정율이 느껴지다. So no, that's not it. 전율이 느껴지다. So I mixed up 전 and 정, which in my head always feel very similar, but 정 and 전 are very different. So, okay, screening room. What was it? 상화관. No? 상영관. I glanced down for a second for a hint. 상영관. So as I'm doing these, I'll usually repeat them a bit to myself, and that kind of reinforces being able to speak a thing while typing it or while thinking about it. Traditional wedding makeup. This is 연지 곤지. So sometimes when you see something like this and the word 연지 곤지, it doesn't, like, what is 연지 곤지? So one thing that I'll do often when I see a new word is I'll just look up an image search. And what is 연지 곤지? Well, you can kind of get an idea just by looking at all these pictures what it is. But basically, it's when you have these three dots. And actually, this is like part of a traditional wedding ceremony. Actually, if you look at this picture, it shows you that 곤지, the second word, is this dot at the top, and 연지 is the cheeks and I guess the lips as well. So 연지 곤지 is these in combination, which is some kind of traditional wedding makeup sort of thing. So now when I think of traditional wedding makeup, I can picture that in my head. While I'm picturing that in my head, I can select 연지 곤지. Let's see, mask dance. This is 탈춤. 춤 means dance. Traditional wedding makeup. That is 연지 곤지. Yay, I remembered. Feel a shiver up my spine. That's 전율이 느껴지다. No? Oh, sorry, I typed it wrong. I typed 저. 전율이 느껴지다. Traditional wedding makeup. 연지 곤지. Right? Mask dance. 탈출. So, like, yeah, every time I do these, they feel like, oh, no? 탈춤. Every time I do it, it feels like a little bit more like just on the tip of my tongue. Theater room. 상영관. Mask dance. 탈춤. Yeah, so there you go. That's my 5 words for the day. I'll see a bunch of those words again tomorrow and probably the day after and the next week. Depends on which ones I can remember. By the time I wake up tomorrow, I'll probably have forgotten 1 or 2 of these words, but the more I see it, the more I remember it. So yeah, that's basically how it works. When you make your custom lists, you will also see those on the mobile app. But I believe on the mobile app, the Memrise mobile app, you cannot create custom lists. You have to do that on PC. From my memory, maybe they've changed it, but that's how it's worked as long as I've used it. Yeah, there's like a few other types of quizzes. Like there's like, I think if you click this, it'll show there's, you can look at difficult words and you can do speed review. Speed review does like really, really fast, like word after word after word with multiple choice. It's good if you kind of get behind on, so this will show me like how many words I should review. Usually I wait until this is about 10 words and then, or above 10 words, and then I'll review to kind of reduce that number. And I'm sort of studying all of these lists, at the same time a little bit per day. I probably spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day, and that's all I have to do. If you study 5 words a day, or if you learn 5 new words a day for a year, what is that? That's 1,500 words, something like that. It's a lot of words. And so, yeah, learning vocabulary is just a little bit at a time. Like if you try to study 50 words in a day, you're not going to remember those 50 words. If you study 5 words a day, it's totally doable. You just have to remember to do it a little bit every day, and bit by bit by bit, you're going to build up your vocabulary, and that's going to be, really useful for conversations and writing and whatever you want to do with your target language. The words that you saw me learn today, I think they're like somewhat advanced words. I've been learning Korean for almost 5 years now. But when you just start out and you're learning basic vocabulary, a lot of the stuff you're going to be putting here is like colors and numbers and my name is and hello, goodbye, thank you, where's the bathroom, etc. Things like that. But yeah, bit by bit, you just learn more, and yeah, that's it. That's how I use this. Again, Anki, I don't know how to spell it because I've never really used it, but Anki, I'll give a shout out. SRS, Anki, SRS, Anki. Yeah, that's what it is. So there's this website also called Anki. You can use this. I think it's like open source and more like customizable and something. I don't know. I haven't used it. I can't recommend it, but lots of people love it. So it just depends on the person, I'm sure. Yeah, and then maybe there's other SRS software out there that I have never seen. Just search around and see what you find. Maybe you'll find something better than what I found. What else can I say about vocabulary and SRS? Yeah, just do it. Vocabulary is so important for learning a language. Grammar, also really important. Pronunciation, reading and writing, and all these things are important. But like, vocabulary is maybe the most time-consuming part, at least for me personally, the most time-consuming part of learning. And the only way to tackle that is to break it down into really small steps. Just do a little bit at a time and slowly build up your word power, your word knowledge, whatever. Yeah, so that's it. Hopefully this video was useful for you. If you liked it, throw a like down there. That's cool. If not, throw a thumbs down. That's cool too. I really don't care. If you have other questions about language learning, just feel free to ask. Maybe I'll do another English video. Again, usually I do Korean videos, but hey, if you're learning Korean, feel free to follow me. Maybe you'll learn something from me rambling about whatever various games I'm playing. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope this was helpful. And yeah, good luck. I hope you learn whatever you were trying to learn when you came here. Bye.